Welcome. So I'm here to talk with you about our friend St. John's Wort and wish you a belated happy summer solstice. Um, we experienced the summer solstice about a week ago, which is the longest day of the year here in the northern hemisphere. Southern hemisphere was winter solstice, but I thought it'd be a great opportunity to come and talk about this plant ally who is so commonly associated with summer solstice. And that is, my camera skills. That is in large part due to the solar nature of this plant. I mean, look at those beautiful yellow blossoms. So when we think of summer, I feel like summer can sometimes be viewed as like this beautiful sunshiny, it's mostly gray here, but beautiful sunshiny, like full abundance, high energy, everything's wonderful, everyone's happy time of year. And that just isn't the case for everyone. I mean, if you look at the world right now, there is just so much going on between the pandemic and Black Lives Matter movement, and like all of these shadows are being revealed. And that's something that I really think of with summer solstice is when the sun is at the highest, there's giant shadows that are revealed that maybe we can't see other times. And so summer solstice is a really good time to work with shadow work. And with St. John's Wort, one of the things that St. John's Wort is known for is for supporting depression. Gathering these blossoms at the summer solstice can help you in the winter solstice when we tend to be a lot more sad because the sun is gone. And it's kind of undetermined on how St. John's Wort does this. There's been various studies looking at like dopamine effects, looking at different enzymes. St. John's Wort can definitely help with mild depression. Not really effective for like bipolar disorder and things like that. But I would say, like mild depression can be really supportive. And can help you to find the things that you need to do to continue working through that emotional space you're in. So, that's a little bit about depression. Like I said, I don't know as much about that because mostly my relationship personally with St. John's Wort, which when I'm talking about my personal relationships with plants, that's where I feel I hold the most knowledge because I've experienced it. My favorite way to use St. John's Wort is topically. So these little yellow blossoms, I'm just going to show you. If I pluck off this flower and I rub it in between my fingers, ooh, we get this red. Wow, that was a terrible example. Let's try this again. This is going to be unedited, y'all. So we rub it between our fingers. There we go. I need to use the buds. We get this beautiful red color. That is the hypericum, which is where a lot of the active constituents are. So pretty. So it looks like blood. So when you're using St. John's Wort in a tincture or an oil, you always want to use fresh. There are many plants that are useful from dried, using dried plant material. St. John's Wort is not one of them. I definitely always do fresh tincture and fresh oil with St. John's Wort, and that's because that red color, the hypericum content, is going to evaporate as the plant dries, and that's where a lot of the medicine is. So always using a fresh oil and fresh tincture infusion is best for St. John's Wort. And I love St. John's Wort for all manner of pain and nerve relief. So I had a sciatica flare-up about 6 months ago. St. John's Wort was my go-to, just like lathering on that oil a couple times a day onto my low back and my hips. Really relieved that pain. St. John's Wort's really nourishing for the nerves, for the nervous system. So it can also have some anti-anxiety effects internally. And it is analgesic, so it's pain relieving. It can also help with just like trauma to the skin in general, or the muscles. So like any sort of swelling or bruising or nerve pain, anything like that. I've been putting St. John's wort on this cut on my finger from stabbing myself with a knife trying to get an avocado pit out. So yeah, St. John's wort is amazing externally. Also really calming. Like I said, it can be relaxing for the nervous system and can be soothing for anxiety, which most people would think like, okay, so I'm going to take a tincture or drink a tea for that quality. But I love using the body oil and just like rubbing it on my chest, rubbing it on the bottoms of my feet. Super calming. It really helps me to sleep as well because of that like nervous system soothing effect and pain relieving effect. Like, have you ever been in so much pain that you can't sleep? St. John's wort is great for that. What else? Oh yeah, St. John's wort in a bath, super good, especially for sciatica. Yeah, I was just dousing myself with St. John's wort oil once I got out of the bath, but also just pouring a little bit into my bath. And yeah, these are the main things that I'm thinking of so St. John's wort is an invasive species. Tends to like to grow in open sunny fields or on south-facing hills. So because it's invasive, we can harvest it pretty heartily, and it grows all around. Some people will only use the flowers. I definitely use the leaves too. For like the oil, I'd say like, this top part, and that's going to give a really beautiful bright red oil. But if you have a smaller amount of St. John's wort available, absolutely use the stalk and the stem, or the stalk and the leaves. It's still totally medicinal. And if you look, my phone camera quality is not good enough to show you, but if you look on the leaves, one of the ways that you can tell that it is the medicinal variety and not the like ornamental variety. One of those ways is by crushing the flowers to see if it's red. So crushing the buds to see if the red hypericum content is there. The other is to look at the leaves. Let's just see if this will focus. My guess is it won't, but yeah, it's not going to focus. But if you look at the leaves up into the sunlight, there's a bunch of little dots. And that's another way to tell that it is the medicinal variety. So yeah, there's so many things to be known about St. John's wort. These are just a few of them. But yeah, now is the time for St. John's wort. It's primo. The unopened buds are the best. And yeah, if you make a tincture within 12 hours from fresh plant, within 12 hours it's going to be a beautiful bright red color. And the oil too. Takes a little bit longer with the oil, but yeah, it will turn a really beautiful bright red color. So I encourage you to get out there. If you are desiring to work with St. John's wort, make sure that you're properly identifying it. Make sure to be respectful when harvesting, offer a gift in exchange, and leave plenty for other animals and for the ecosystem. But again, like, it can be harvested a little more heartily than some other plants because it is invasive and it grows through freaking cracks, concrete cracks in town. So it's all over. Now is the time. So I hope that you had a blessed summer solstice. I hope you feel inspired to go and commune with St. John's wort and learn about the many ways that they can support you. Alrighty, I will see you next time.